A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for choosing us to inform you on this edition of TV47 News Tonight. You are just in time for the latest in the world of news, sports and business. Welcome aboard. My name is Kenneth Kazungu, but first, here are stories that made it to the top 3 tonight. Ahead on TV47 News Tonight, 3 people die and others injured in a suspected Al-Shabaab attack in Bura East, Garissa County.
Therefore, when the device exploded, the 3 occupants of that first vehicle were fatally injured.
Police offered advice by the president during the 58th AP Passing Out Parade in Embakasi.
We have identified police officers as priority beneficiaries of the affordable housing projects,
with the president affirming his commitment to having an autonomous police service. Plus, pathologists reveal the cause of death of LGBTQ activist and model Edwin Chiloba.
The body was cyanosed. Cyanosis means that this person was not getting enough oxygen to the body when he died.
The report conflicting earlier details on how he might have met his death. Alright, TV47 News Tonight on this 11th day of January 2023 begins right now. A very good evening to you and welcome aboard. My name is Kenneth Kazungu. Catherine Simaloi will be handling the sign language interpretation. An autopsy conducted on LGBTQ rights activist Edwin Chiloba's body has revealed that suffocation was the main cause of death after beads of fabric were shoved into his mouth and nose. Pathologists have refuted claims that the deceased's eyes were gouged out, as Elizabeth Atieno now tells us.
These were the scenes early Wednesday at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. Pathologists from the Forensics Division, led by the government chief pathologist, visited the facility to conduct the most anticipated post-mortem examination on the body of LGBTQ activist and model Edwin Chiloba. At around 12 p.m., Dr. Johansen Odor announced the post-mortem results, further giving details on what ensued on that fateful day.
All this, what we concluded that could have led to the death of the late Edwin Kiprotich Kipto was what we call asphyxia, which is caused by smothering. Smothering is a blockage of the nose and of the mouth so that we cannot breathe. There was something tied on the mouth and nose. A piece of jeans trouser which was blocking the mouth and the nose. There were socks which are also been stuffed in the mouth and the nose. In the mouth actually, socks were stuffed in the mouth. There were 3 pairs of socks which you saw inside the mouth. The body was cyanosed. Cyanosis means that this person was not getting enough oxygen to the body when he died.
Investigations further revealed that the deceased brain was swollen, with his fingers presenting a bluish color, a clear indication that he lacked oxygen before his demise.
There are also injuries inside the mouth. We saw a lot of injuries inside the mouth and on the tongue. Other organs were normal other than being decomposed.
When Chiloba's body was found stashed in a metal box along the Kipenyo-Kaptinga Road in Uasin Gishu County on the 5th of this month, there were allegations that the 26-year-old was strangled and eyes gouged. That, however, contradicts the post-mortem findings.
When we had a look at the body, there were changes in the eye which were caused by decomposition. So they were intact, though they were decomposing. So they were appearing as if they had been removed, but they were just changes which were caused by decomposition. When you decompose, fluid which are bloody oozes passively from the body. So it might be misconstrued to be bleeding, but yet it's just passive flow of fluid because of decomposition.
Questions now abound as to why the deceased had no signs of physical injuries and if he was sexually molested. This might, however, be answered in a period of 3 to 4 months when results from some samples taken to the government chemist will be made public.
Also, as we are wondering why, but we are asking ourselves, was he drugged? Was he given a lot of alcohol so that now he could not resist? So based on that, there are samples we've taken also for analysis, which will be taken to government analysts to see whether there's any chemical or any drugs which are in the body which could have caused him not to resist when he was being smothered.
Postmortem results now present important clues on the ongoing investigations into the murder that has since led to the arrest of 5 suspects who were arraigned in court on Monday this week after the prime suspect Jackton Odhiambo reportedly confessed to killing Edwin Chiloba. The case is expected to be mentioned on the 31st of January 2023. The family has since maintained that the deceased was a staunch Christian, further calling on Kenyans to be sympathetic and empathetic on the matter.
He was brought up as a Christian. High school Kimuron, St. Francis Kimuron, alikuwa anaitwa pastor. Alikuwa student leader akiongoza mambo ya YCS. So hii mambo ingine tunasikia hatujui, tumeonea media. Na ninaomba wa Kenya, just be fair. Be fair for us. Kwa sababu kuna mtu anaweza taka mtoto wake akue hivyo. Just be fair, hatujui hiyo mambo na mtoto wetu amewawa. Tunataka tu justice, nothing more.
Lakini tunasema kwamba culture yetu inaonekana inaenda kubadilika, na tungeomba sana sana wale elders kutoka pande zote, wanaume, wanawake, waendelee kufunza wale watu wetu wadogo ndio wajue jinsi ya kuishi maisha ya wakati huu.
The late Chiloba, known to many as an LGBTQ activist, an entrepreneur and a fashion model, will be laid to rest on Tuesday next week in Sergoit Village, Keyo North, Elgeyo Marakwet County. Elizabeth Atino, TV 47.
Moving on, and the Narok court has slapped a 50-year-old man to life imprisonment after he pleaded guilty of defiling and marrying a minor in 2019. The suspect appeared before Narok Senior Resident Magistrate Phyllis Shinyanda. Her judgment, Ms. Shinyanda said the man had been warned of the magnitude but maintained that he had married off the girl because he had been given her hand for marriage by her parents. She noted that the accused man showed no remorsefulness and consideration of the age of the girl who was defiled to the extent of being impregnated. Reminded Ololore Serka of his right to appeal the case in a higher court in a period of 14 days if he was not satisfied with the judgment.
And I hereby sentence him as follows. With respect to count 1, the accused person is hereby sentenced to imprisonment for life. With respect to count 2, the accused person is hereby sentenced. Sentences will run concurrently, and he has a right of appeal of 14 days against the sentence.
Elsewhere, 3 people in Garissa County have been killed and 1 remains unaccounted for in a suspected Al-Shabaab attack after the vehicle they were traveling in ran over an improvised explosive device or an IED in Halei, Bura East Sub-County. A team of police officers has been deployed to pursue the perpetrators and bring them to book. Mike Kagwongo with more details on that story.
Garissa County Commissioner Boaz Cherotich has confirmed a suspected Al-Shabaab attack in Hailey, Bura East Sub-County in Garissa County that happened early Wednesday. The deceased were leading a convoy of 2 other vehicles who escaped the incident unhurt.
Na kwa hivyo leo asubuhi saa 4:30 kulikuwa na magari ambayo ilikuwa na safiri kutoka Garissa kuelekea upande wa Nanyuki, na hii magari ni ya kampuni moja ambayo inafanya kazi ya ujenzi.
Cherotich, who was flanked by his security committee members, said that they had deployed a team of police officers to pursue the perpetrators and bring them to book.
Gari ya kwanza ambayo ilikuwa naongoza iliweza kukanyaka ID. Alafu hiyo ID ilipolipuka, wale watu watatu ambao walikuwa ndani ya hiyo gari waliweza kuumia na watatu wakafariki. Kwa hivyo tunasema pole kwa familia.
He appealed to area residents to be calm as security teams pursue the criminals, saying the government will continue with the sustained operation to flush them out. Cherotich, however, noted that more details of the incident will be available when the families of the victims will be notified of the incident.
Kwa hivyo tunataka eleza wananchi wa sehemu hii wasiwe na wasiwasi, kwa sababu tumetuma askari wetu waende kule wafanye operation ili waweze kutafuta wale wakora.
The incident occurs barely 3 weeks after at least 3 people were killed in an Al-Shabaab attack in Garissa on December 21st, 2022. The 2 police officers and a civilian were in a police vehicle when they were attacked between the Haile Lapset camp in Garissa. Police and survivors said the attackers first used an improvised explosive device to demobilize the speeding police vehicles before they followed with a rocket-propelled grenade. President William Ruto, while presiding over the 58th Administration Police Pass-Out Parade, maintained that new officers are expected to tackle such incidents.
We are determined to deliver security in all parts of Kenya without sacrificing fundamental rights and freedoms. A more autonomous, professional and better resourced police service whose members enjoy conducive terms of employment and conditions of service and have access to adequate welfare amenities will go a long way in facilitating this commitment that we have as a nation.
Mike, GOtv 47, Nairobi.
From one terror-related story to another terror-related story, and 3 suspects linked to a thwarted terrorist attack in Diani during the New Year's Eve celebrations have been arraigned in court to answer to various charges, including those of possessing a firearm alleged to have been used to commit serious crimes. The anti-terror police unit in the area has at the same time filed an affidavit requesting the court to add them more time for investigations against the 3.
During their arrest, an Australian-made Glock pistol was recovered from them, loaded with 15 rounds of ammunition, raising concerns over recent crimes committed within Kwale and Mombasa counties. The 2 male suspects could allegedly be linked to burglaries in Mombasa while impersonating motorbike delivery service riders during their missions. According to the information tabled in court, the detectives and other respective authorities are investigating whether the suspects are members of a terrorism group, look into their bank accounts to determine any financial ties to terrorism, and whether the respondents have had an active criminal record, among many other issues that will determine their suit. Earlier on, the respondents had requested that the media be barred from covering the proceedings, a request that was today turned down.
This court is not persuaded that the applicant's rights to fair trial was in any way infringed by the manner in which the media covered the story. If the applicant is of the view that he was defamed by the said coverage, he is at liberty to file a civil suit for damages against the media house. The application is thus dismissed.
They have, however, maintained their innocence, which will soon be determined after all investigations have been concluded. Paul, GOtv 47.
Police officers will be prioritized in the Kenya Kwanza's affordable housing project. Speaking during the 58th Administration Police Passing Out Parade in Embakasi earlier today, President William Ruto further reaffirmed the government's move in ensuring an autonomous police service. Stanley Nyaringita with more.
After a rigorous 9-month training here in the Administration Police Training College in Embakasi, These 1,995 recruits have joined in the ranks of the National Police Service in a colourful passing out parade ceremony that was presided over by President William Ruto. The officers have been advised to shun politics and focus on the constitutional duty of defending the lives of people and property.
Katika idara hii ya usalama, Mheshimiwa Rais, umeendelea kutuongoza na kutuelekeza na umetuambia jinsi unavyotaka kuona vikosi vyetu vya usalama wa nchi vikifanya kazi kulinda maisha na mali ya mwananchi.
Rais ako na jeshi yake ya siasa ambaye mimi ndiye kamanda ya hiyo jeshi, na kwa wakati huu hatuhitaji nyinyi kwa hiyo jeshi. Nyinyi ni jeshi ya IG, mfanye kazi ya kulinda Wakenya na maisha yao. Na sisi wale ambaye tulitaka kwenda siasa, we hanged our boots, we returned our uniform and went to politics.
The president used the occasion to condemn the rampant banditry attacks that have left thousands of lives affected in various counties, further noting that the violence will be put to a halt in his administration. At the same time, Ruto reaffirmed the government's move to resolve law enforcement staffing and improve the police-civilian ratio as part of efforts to keep up with the global dynamics of national security. According to the head of state, his administration is determined to ensure an autonomous police service.
We have identified police officers as priority beneficiaries of the affordable housing projects in order to ensure that members of the service lead dignified lives in clean, spacious, safe, and secure houses and neighborhoods.
This comes as the 22-member task force chaired by former CJ David Maraga is expected to put under the microscope the issues affecting the men and women in service and later forward their findings and recommendations to the president. Ruto and his deputy are flanked by CS Interior Professor Kithure Kindiki, IG Japheth Koome, as well as Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja in the 58th AP Passing Out Parade.
Governor, how are you?
The script will be similar Thursday, as the president will preside over the 49th Passing Out Parade of the General Service Unit in Embakasi, Nairobi. Stanley Nyerengita, TV 47.
Also, two activists filed a case in court seeking to stop Treasury from releasing any funds to insurance companies awarded an 8.7 billion shilling tender to provide the National Police Service and the Kenya Prison Services members with medical cover. Crispin Onyango and Henry Shitanda say the tender is illegal and aims at profiteering a few individuals, as Flora Limuki now tells us.
Adua has moved to court to petition the issuance of a tender to insurance firms in order to give medical cover to National Police Service, arguing that the move is contrary to Section 15(5) of the NHIF Act. In December last year, the NPS, KPS and CS Interior jointly advertised a tender on provision of medical insurance coverage for the members of the National Police Service and the Kenya Police Service. The government entered a contract for the provision of a comprehensive cover for employees of the agencies through the NHIF from July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. The two say the tender was issued contrary to the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act of 2015 and the National Insurance Health Fund. Shitanda and Odhiambo want the court to issue a temporary order stopping the Principal Administrative Secretary of NPS and any other Principal Accounting Officer from making any move that will give further effect to the implementation of the tender. Following Justice Hedwig Ong'odi's orders, the matter, which has been certified as urgent, will be heard in court on January 17th. Flora Limuki, TV 47.
Elsewhere, Kenyans should brace for tough financial times ahead as the National Assembly's Budget and Appropriations Committee is proposing to increase the 2023-2024 budget by 2 trillion shillings, and which is to be funded primarily through tax collection. Moige William with that report.
On the first day of a 3-day public hearing on the proposed 2023-2024 financial year and the medium-term period budget at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, KICC, on Wednesday, Chair of the National Assembly Budget and Appropriations Committee, Ndende Nyoro, has hinted on his office proposing this year's budget in the tune of over 2 trillion shillings to be funded directly from the taxpayer.
And we have to bite the bullet as Kenyans. And I'm not saying that debt is entirely bad. Debt is not entirely bad. Even the other time we were here, we talked about it because it is a perpetual challenge that you have to face, and especially in the macro sense. Even some of our development partners, their countries are also indebted, actually more than Kenya in terms of debt to GDP ratio.
The Kiharu Member of Parliament has called on Kenyans to prepare themselves, ready to brave tough decisions by the government in order to accommodate the proposed 2023-2024 fiscal year budget, with the pressure piling on the Kenya Revenue Authority to collect revenue aggressively.
From 2013, let's say to last year thereabout, we had a spike in terms of our debt to GDP ratio up to the close documented figure of around 68 point something, and I believe it could be higher because it's a matter of the other side of GDP.
President William Ruto's first budget at the helm of leadership has been set at 3.64 trillion shillings, with over 2 trillion shillings expected to be from revenue collected, which is an upward figure from the previous target in the 2022-2023 budget. Nyoro exuding confidence that despite the country's difficult economic circumstances, it will be possible to hit the target.
The fourth medium-term plan will focus primarily on the core pillars of the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto, which is the plan, namely agriculture, micro and small medium enterprises, housing and settlement, healthcare, and digital superhighway, and the creative economy.
And therefore giving the Kenyan people 3 days to have their valuable input in the budget is actually giving them the role they should be taking, because you are only representatives.
The Kenya Kwanza regime, through President William Ruto, had earlier outlined its intentional move to fund the country's budget reliably through revenue, cautioning over-reliance on debt. The ongoing public hearing will continue for the next 2 days. Moige William, TV 47.
Moving on, and there is need for the government to conduct training to circumcision handlers in the country in order to avoid complications arising from the procedure. Now, this is according to the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Wilson Aruasa, who says that the facility has received 18 cases of infections arising from circumcisions in the past few days.
On December 28, 2022, a family in Nandi County buried their 14-year-old son, who had just sat his KCPE examinations and was set to join secondary school this month as a result of a botched circumcision exercise. And at the Kenyatta National Hospital, a 14-year-old who is also expected to join Form 1 this month is fighting for his life after a circumcision exercise that left him with life-threatening injuries. Dr. Wilson Aruasa, the CEO of Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Eldoret, has confirmed that the facility received 16 cases of complications arising from circumcision in the just concluded initiation season, adding that there has been a spike in related cases.
The ones who were referred to us developed some complications where they were operated on in the places where they were operated, and they were brought here for further treatment. And the main complication that we have seen is what we call secondary infection. That is infection that comes after 2 weeks, let's say 2 to 3 weeks after the operation.
Dr. Aruasa now says there is need to conduct training on circumcision handlers operating in the community to ensure the procedure is done safely, since it is difficult to convince communities to shun their traditions.
You see, culture cannot be changed through by just dictating and saying, we want you to do this. The best is to work in a cooperative manner with those traditional surgeons, for example. So the best thing is to have some sort of a curriculum where we train these surgeons, particularly on infection prevention and control.
However, he has assured the public that all the patients are recuperating well, including one boy who was discharged from the ICU into a normal ward.
Of the ones that we have received, the 18, one had gone to ICU because of severe infection mainly, that now ascended to the rest of the body, the whole body. And he did well and has been discharged from ICU. Some of the 18 also have done well and are now on the way home. So as we speak, we probably have just about 12 now remaining, and they are improving also.
Sylvia Nyongesa, TV 47.
Elsewhere, in counties that are not classified as arid or semi-arid areas for the very first time are showing signs of drought as the situation intensifies across the country. This is according to CS East African Community and the ASALs and Regional Development Rebecca Miano, who says a couple of non-ASAL areas have also reported depressive rains over the past couple of months. Here now is Zainab Mohammed with more.
22 out of 23 arid and semi-arid counties are facing critical drought situation, with 9 of them in the alarm drought phase and 13 in the alert drought phase.
9 counties, including Kilifi, Mandera, Marsabit, Samburu, Turkana, Wajir, Isiolo, Kitui and Kajiado, are currently in alarm drought phase. 13 other counties are in alert drought phase. They include Garissa, Lamu, Narok, Tana River, Makueni, Tharaka Nithi, Baringo, Laikipia, Meru, Taita Taveta, West Pokot, Nyeri and Kwale.
The situation in some counties like Taita Taveta, Garissa and Tana River are improving, with Baringo and Pokot counties sliding from normal to alert drought phase. Counties that are not classified as arid or semi-arid areas for the very first time are also showing signs of drought, as the government warns that the environmental indicators are outside normal ranges.
This time round, we have seen counties that are not ordinarily ASAL counties affected by the drought, but in specific wards. And I can give you some examples. In Kirinyaga, we have Gadigiri and Kiriti wards, and these need interventions. In Kiambu, we have wards like Kalimoni, Mugudha, Theta, Wetaithie, and others that have been affected. In Machakos, Kalama, Kola, and others. Nakuru, we have seen Gilgil, Mogotio, Hell's Gate, also affected by the drought. And Muranga, wards like Mugumo, Kanyanyaine, Ruadhia.
As at now, 4.35 million Kenyans are at risk of starvation, with 960,000 children facing malnutrition. Zainab Mohammed, T47.
Back to the corridors of justice, where the nomination of Dolphin Nyangara for the position of Member of County Assembly under the gender top-up category in the Nyamira County Assembly has been nullified by a Nyamira Law Court. Meanwhile, 4 police officers linked to a 2 million shilling forex robbery will remain in custody for one more day to enable the investigating officers finalize investigations. Paul Kirobi with a roundup of stories from the corridors of justice.
A Nyamira Law Court has nullified the nomination of Dolphin Nyangara for the position of Member of County Assembly under gender top-up category in the Nyamira County Assembly. A respondent by the name Michelle Omoyo Kemuma argued that IEBC failed to use the correct list that had been issued by the Jubilee Party and instead used the list that had been challenged before the Political Parties Disputes Tribunal.
The court has agreed with us. The court has said that the list that had the name of our client, Michelle, as number 1 to be used, and she be gazetted immediately so that she can assume the office and start representing the women of Nyamira.
This is a matter I filed way back in September, but at least as much as we've started the new year, we've started it on a good note. I'm sure the people of Nyamira County are happy because Most of them were aware of what transpired.
In the Political Parties Disputes Tribunal, Michelle Omoyo had argued that Nyang'ara was a resident of Kahawa Wendani Ward and a voter at Kiambu County and should not represent the people or women of Nyamira County. The petitioner moved to the Political Parties Disputes Tribunal at Nairobi on September 3rd, 2022, challenging the nomination of Dolphin Nyang'ara in the gender top-up list of Jubilee Party.
And I want to confirm that we had enough women in Nyamira who voted and deserved to be nominated. And I want to appeal to all other county assemblies where this kind of nonsense has been made. I can give them advice for free. Let them storm those county assemblies when they resume in February.
Meanwhile, 4 police officers linked to a 2 million forex robbery incident will remain in custody for 1 day to enable the investigating officer finalize the investigations. Milimani Senior Principal Magistrate Bernard Ochoi said the suspects are likely to interfere with witnesses.
Respondents remanded in custody. I find that a 1-day custodial period is sufficient for purposes of the investigating officer to get the statement of the complainant. The rest of the investigations could be completed even when the respondents are out on bond.
The 4, Daniel Wambua, Eliud Kipkurui, Nicholas Murira and Stanley Gitonga, who are detained at Capitol Hill Police Station, will be produced in court on January 13, 2023 for mention to confirm the progress of the investigation. Police say a businessman who runs a bureau along Mamangina Street had withdrawn 2 million shillings from a nearby bank in the company of his colleagues at around 11 a.m. when Wambua and Gitonga approached them purporting to arrest them for an offense they did not disclose. The businessman raised alarm which attracted the nearby security guards and police officers who were guarding a nearby forex bureau, who rushed to the scene and took the bag containing the money for safe custody. Paul Kirobi, TV47.
Elsewhere in the countrywide assessment of schools to determine their capacity and meeting grade 7 learners has entered day 4 today. And as Andrin Kilemi now tells us, the assessment so far reveals that private primary schools are way ahead in their preparations as compared to public primary schools.
The 1.2 million grade 6 pupils who sat the inaugural CBC exams last year are expected to transition to junior secondary domiciled in their existing primary schools. And as such, the government is out to ensure a smooth transition with the assessment of schools to determine their suitability to host junior secondary schools now gaining momentum. In Nairobi's Mathare area, education officials arrive with their checklist in hand, ready to assess whether the school is suitable to host junior secondary school. Top of the checklist is whether or not the school is registered on the National Education Management Information System, NEMIS. The assessment also seeks to find out the qualification of teachers, the number of teaching and non-teaching staff, the size and ownership of school land, as well as physical facilities, with each school required to have at least 2 extra classrooms.
By the time I'll be leaving this station, I should be able to know whether it's a feeder school or it's a junior secondary school. And that's a report that I must give them.
Oh, give the school?
Yes, I give the school.
Okay.
So that as I live here, they also know that now, based on that, on our score sheet, we have qualified to be a junior secondary school. And we're telling them move straight away and start doing what we've not. It's not only assessing, we're also giving our recommendations to them. We're also advising them, here you've not done correctly, do this, do this, do this. And we'll still come back to check.
The assessment has so far revealed that private primary schools are way ahead in their preparations as compared to the public primary schools.
Most private schools have got laboratories, the DLP, the uniforms have been identified, the furniture, or the special rooms are there. So you can't talk of them at our level. Some of the schools which are not prepared are the ones which we are now going through. But most of the private schools were assessed last year, because then they are getting ready, knowing very well that they'll compete with secondary schools.
The exercise could, however, run into headwinds in some areas due to unprecedented challenges.
Shule zetu pia siko mbali. Najua kwamba itachukua muda
kwa sababu hasiko karibu. Najua si kama vile urban setting. Kwa urban setting utapata shule moja inapakana na ingine. Lakini kwa rural setting kama pande hii ya Kiriboni unatembea kwa muda mrefu ndio upate the second school.
The ongoing assessment process has a minimum of 2 officials per visit who go around the schools within a sub-county to establish their preparedness to host junior secondary school. For instance, in Kasarani's sub-county, 70 out of the available 367 schools have so far been assessed. Preparations for grade 7 learners are in top gear as education officials continue with the countrywide assessment of schools to establish their readiness in hosting junior secondary schools. The private primary schools seemingly ahead in their preparations as learners transitioning from grade 6 are expected to resume learning on the 30th of January. Andrin Kilemi, TV47, Nairobi.
Andrin, thank you so much for that. And it is at this particular point in time, we want to take a very short break. When we come back, we'll have many more stories. You want to stick around for that.
Are you looking for a distinguished institution of academic and professional excellence to kickstart your career? Then join KIPS Technical College, a top-NEC, CASNEB and NEET examination center in Kenya that is fully accredited by TVET Authority with over 90% national exam pass rate. We offer high-quality, hands-on training in engineering, hospitality, tourism, journalism, ICT, business, accounting, hairdressing and beauty, health sciences, community development and foreign language, and have placed over 26,000 graduates since 1994. Our state-of-the-art equipment, well-equipped workshops, indoor and outdoor sports facilities make us the preferred choice.
During my training, I was able to become Miss KIPS, which has helped me to achieve my goals in community development.
Admissions for January 2023 intake is ongoing. For more information, call 0720-813-113 or visit any of our 6 campuses located within Nairobi. KIPS Technical College, your sure path to success.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Trisent School of Medical Health Science and Technology is a premier training institute for market-driven courses. With state-of-the-art facilities, competent and dedicated members of staff, and linkages with the medical industry, you are assured of a bright future when you study with us. Enroll today in our campuses at Juja, Nairobi West, Kisumu, and Homa Bay.
Usienda nayo huko ndani, unaacha hapo kwa luggage ndio uingie.
Ni wacho kwa luggage namna gani nataka kutumia huko ndani? Nimekuja na hii gani ndio inatumika? Hii paketi ama hii kuchota? Kwani serious hii? Bwana wacheni mchezo bwana. Nini?
Karibu customer. Hizi bidhaa unaziacha pale kwenye luggage ndipo ufanye shopping kwa supermarket yetu. Kuchota ni kufanya shopping pekee.
Ni kufanya shopping.
Raundi hii na Hitia Supermarket ndio best. Kwa mara nyingine market inakuletea chota kuchota na Hitia Supermarket. Kushiriki shindano la chota kuchota Bunawe, Kitale, Bungoma, Eldoret, Kakamega, Kisumu, Busia, Naivasha, Limuru, Nairobi, Thika, Nyeri, Meru, Chuka na Maua. Nunua bidhaa ya shilingi 600 na zaidi na utapewa raffle ticket. Jaza vizuri na utumbukize kwa sanduku iliyo mlangoni. Utakuwa umeingia kwa draw ya kujishindia zawadi Daihatsu Mira, pikipiki 21 aina ya TVS, 1130 school fees, TVS, shopping vouchers na vingine vingi.
Bas, ni huku. Saidia mimi.
Chota kuchota imethaminiwa na Louis Bacon, Savannah Juice Fruit Vial, My Choice Hand Wash, Zesta Choco Primo, Ketepa, Blue Band, Aramco, Oven Fresh Bread, Nivea, Silent Night Mattresses, Coca-Cola pamoja na Hisense. Shindano hili limeidhinishwa na BCLB permit number 002816. Sheria na masharti kutumika.
Chota kuchota na Hete Supermarket, na hii motokaa gari smart kabisa inaweza kuwa yako. Unangoja nini? Ingia, fanya shopping yako Hete Supermarket, uchoto kuchote na hii gari. Hii motokaa inaweza kuwa yako. Mtu anaweza pesa kwa buti.
Hete Supermarket, a world of choice.
Imagine starting your academic journey here at the foot of Mount Kenya. A place where you can call home. A place where we celebrate our diversity and uniqueness. A place where you can be at your best, at work and at play. That place is Embu College. There's no better place to make the difference than Embu College. Karibu Embu College, where a holistic education matters.
Usiyakubalie maumivu ya misuli kukatiza ratiba yako. Kaluma Pain Balm ni dawa ya kusugua iliyotengenezwa kutoka kwa miche maalum ili kutuliza maumivu ya misuli. Kaluma Pain Balm. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with TV47 News tonight. Now, in a tragic incident, 3 children aged 8, 6 and 4 have been burnt beyond recognition in an alleged act of arson caused by land disputes in the family. The fire occurred last night and it is reported that unknown individuals destroyed property and burned several houses, including a Probox car parked outside the homestead. According to Kangundo OCPD Zakaria Bitok, officers from the Kawadei police post received information of the invaders and rushed to the scene. The remains of the 3 children have been taken to the Kangundo Hospital mortuary for post-mortem examination as investigations begin. The police are appealing to the public for any information that can aid in the investigation.
The loose ends to see what might have happened. Otherwise, as we speak, we lost 3 kids. 2 female and 1 male.
Is quite unfortunate because this revolves around family feud that has taken decades to be resolved. Yeah. So this family was in my office yesterday, and we tried to solve this amicably. And I could also bear witness that they had a long-standing dispute.
The officers are on the ground, trying to pieces of information to know probably where these authors of this heinous crime would have been.
To Nakuru now, and residents of Maruk in that county have decried the continued sale and consumption of illicit brews as well as the rise of insecurity in the area. This is after the death of a young man who is alleged to have been beaten and murdered by some young men who are said to have been high on drugs. Here is Chichi Josephine with more details on that story.
We got to this homestead and the first thing that welcomes us is this grave of Shuru Kamau, who was just 17 years at the time of his death. His mother, though in denial, arranging stones around the grave of a dear son.
Mtoto wangu amekufa kifo ya kuuliwa. Na mtoto wangu alikuwa sawa, alikuwa ananisaidia kila kitu.
Kamau is alleged to have lost his life after being beaten up by young men in a nearby pub on allegations of stealing 100 shillings, an allegation that has so far been disputed by his family members.
Nikamuliza kwa nini? Ati mimi niliokota 100 chini. Kuokota 100 chini na ndugu ya huyo kijana mdogo alikuwa hapo na walikuwa na vijana wengine hapo. Akakimbia akasema, "Hii 100 umeokota ni yangu." Na nikamuuliza, "Uliwarudishia 100 yao?" ati mimi niliwapatia 100 yao juu nilikuwa na pesa zangu nikawapatia 100 yao. Wakaanza kunipiga kama wamenilalisha chini, wananipiga, wananikanyaga huku, wananikanyaga huku, wananikanyaga huku. Nikamwambia ati ndio maana nilikuwa natoka damu mpaka na mapua na mdomo.
100 meters from Kamau's home is this pub where he is alleged to have been attacked by young men who are said to have fled the village after his death.
Kuna hatua imechukuliwa juu hata kwanza walitoroka.
Maneno hiyo ikipelekwa kwa chifu hana haja na hiyo maneno. Hataki kabisa kusikia hiyo maneno ati inaongelelewa ya hiyo kilabu. Hataki kabisa. Huyo kwanza ndiye anapinga kabisa.
Residents have lamented over the high rise of insecurity as well as sale and consumption of illicit brew in the area that have contributed to atrocities being conducted as they count the number of people who have fallen victim to the vices in the past days.
Kama hii pombe tunajua mahali inauzwa, lakini ukienda useme ni mahali hivi ujulikane, wewe hata saa ingine siku yako itaenda.
Umezungukwa na virabu na pombe za pombe haramu katika maeneo haya, na kusema ukweli imeshindikana kumalizwa.
Some residents have accused the local security apparatus led by the area chief Mr. Joseph Mwangi of laxity.
Nyumba zote za pombe tunazijua hapa. Tunajua vile ambao wanaenda, lakini community pamoja na serikali kuna pahali kuna hitilafu kwa sababu hakuna action yachukuliwa.
Chifu ya hapa hata ukimwambia maneno ya pombe asubulikagi na ogeagi. Anaenda hapo sukua pesa, anaenda hapo sukua pesa, anaenda hapo sukua pesa. Sasa kazi yake ni gani?
They have called on the government to work towards ending the menace and ensure there is enough security in the area.
Tunasema pombe ikuje imwago yote. Na wale watu wanauza hiyo pombe wasukuliwe madhege au wafukuswe. Hata ikiwa ni mimi nifukuswe.
On his part, the area chief denied the allegations, turning them baseless as he explained further on what has been happening in the area.
Kulikuwa na zaidi ya bomba 20 ambazo zilikuwa zinapikwa pombe. Lakini kwa sasa hakuna pombe. Mainly within Baluku na Echaleria hakuna boma inayopikwa pombe. Walakini kuna pombe kidogo unakuta inakuwa snipped within the village. Boma kama 3. Na hiyo pombe unakuta inakuwa snipped. Inaletwa na bodaboda usiku wa manane.
Chichi Josephine, TV47.
Moving on, and grief and shock has engulfed Eshitimba village in Huisero constituency in Kakamega County after an 80-year-old grandmother was torched to death inside her house, with family members saying the perpetrators is her 40-year-old grandson, Collins Lusweti, with that report.
Police in Huisero Division have launched investigations into the incident that saw the 80-year-old granny burnt alive inside the house, with family members and neighbors expressing great shock and disbelief.
Akaenda akabomoa nyumba ya nyanya yake na akamtoa kwa bedroom, akamweka kwa kiti na akamwekelea cushions za viti, akamwekelea viti na akamwekelea kila kitu na akawasha moto. Nyumba ndio inaanguka na Flois amechomeka kiasi kwamba amebaki nusu, kichwa ndio inaonekana peke yake.
Nikaona moshi. I felt something like smoky nje. Kajaribu kuangalia kwa mama huku, nikashuku pengine inaweza kuwa ni stima imewasha vitu ama nini. I decided to go back to my house. Kidogo my niece, my nephew alikuja kuniamsha, uncle, unajua Asila amechomea shosho wake kwa nyumba amekufa.
Members of the family say the ugly incident was allegedly orchestrated by her 40-year-old grandson by the name Silas Lisero, who they say has been causing the 80-year-old great problems, wanting a share of the money from the Inua Jamii program that targets the elderly.
Wakasema ile kitu inakusumbua, tunataka vile mama yake atapata pesa. Mimi najua ile kitu imefanya mama amechomwa kwa nyumba ni mambo ya pesa ya uzee. Mambo ya pesa ya uzee ndio inafanya mama yangu ameenda mbinguni.
Officer in charge of police division Huisero Kipyagon Kogo confirmed the incident, saying the suspect received a thorough beating from the public before being rescued by the police, adding that he is currently admitted at Sonak Hospital in Huisero, with a mental examination expected to be conducted on him later before being arraigned in court.
Philois Lisero, aged about 80 years,
was burned inside their two-roomed house by his grandson named Lisa Lisero.
Meanwhile, in Kajiado County, hundreds of elderly men and women benefited from the Inua Jamii program by receiving money from the government. The government has set aside Kenya shillings 8.6 billion for the program to enable the elderly live a comfortable life.
Bottom up is that we are targeting that person down there, down there, to make sure that it cushions him, at least to give him a better life.
Collins Lusweti, TV 47.
Elsewhere, and at least 4 people were today reported dead in an accident at Igembe South. Out of the 4, 2 of them died instantly, while the other 2 died while receiving treatment at a nearby hospital. A Land Rover car lost control while carrying more than 32 people on its way to Harvest Cut, commonly known as Miraa, at Igembe South, where the incident occurred. 8 other people who are nursing serious injuries were taken to Meru Hospital for treatment.
ambao walikuwa wamehusika katika ajali mbaya. Madaktari wetu tunawashukuru sana, waliweza kujitolea, kila mtu kwa hospitali aliweza kujitolea, na pia wasamaria wema ambao waliwafikisha hospitali waliweza kuwashughulikia. Lakini kwa bahati mbaya 2 kati ya wale ambao walifika wakiwa wameaga, na 2 ambao walikuwa katika hali mahututi wakaaga wakiendelea kuhudumiwa. So kwa jumla watu 4 walifariki. Lakini kati ya hao wengine wanaendelea kushughulikiwa kwa sasa. Kadri mnavyoona, tumeweza kupata kushirikiana na hospitali zingine, Mudhara, Mutuati, Kangeta, na ambulance zao zote ziko hapa kutusaidia, na kuna wagonjwa 8 ambao wako katika hali mbaya ambao wanapelekwa Meru. Hao wengine wanaendelea kuangaliwa, na tuna matumaini kwamba kati ya hao wengine wote watatibiwa na waweze kwenda nyumbani.
Elsewhere, and while various countries are trying to activate digitization of businesses across the world, different organizations locally continue to invent different ways with the aim of fulfilling the Vision 2030. And now, Virtual Airtime Vendors Service Company, located abroad, is now in the country. The company enables people to pay for electrical bills, airtime, and purchasing of different products online. According to the General Director of the organization in the country, individuals living with foreign countries will be able to buy and also pay fees, which would otherwise cost them more. Also, the network has more than 347 companies to buy capital and also pay for different products.
A designer and practiced interior design for over 21 years, day-to-day sort of flow. And it's out of that, and especially during the corona time, when everybody slowed down and they settled down at home, that I could think clearly and come up with an idea that can give solutions to people who basically just are sitting at home. And that is how the idea of Virtual AVS came in. An American company that deals with telecommunications had just brought together 347 telecommunication companies across the whole world. And all it took to become part of that, to benefit from that pie, was basically just to download an app and create an account and basically start, benefiting from money that flows in the telecommunication industry. All of us understand that telecommunication has enough money for everybody, so to speak. It has enough money to run economies. When you look at the amount of money that runs in telecommunications, it's enough to actually fund the.
Let us now get to the world of sports. And in efforts to streamline the sports sector in the country, Sports Cabinet Secretary Babuna Mwamba earlier today paid a visit to Embu County to assess the state of study in the county. During his tour in Embu, Babuna Mwamba said he has written to the Office of the Auditor General to carry out a special audit and file the report in 2 months that will inform the next course of action after the ministry ordered for an audit of all Stadia across the country in a bid to ascertain whether the amount invested in the sporting complexes reflected the reality on the ground. Ababu inspected the Moi Stadium and the Njukiri Stadium and says there is no value for money in those stadia and they were in shambles. McGrath names should.
With respect to count one, the accused person is hereby sent.
Apologize for that video mix-up. In Moinengai Oilers, John Okoth and Daysters Falcons youngster Floyd Huabwire received their maiden call up in the National Rugby 7 squad for the 4th and 5th legs of the HSBC Sevens World Series. Shuja's head coach Damian McGrath named a 13-man team which will be led by Captain Nelson Oyo as Alvin Otieno and Brian Tanga returns to the squad. McGrath also called William Baka, Herman Humwa, Kevin Wakesa, Dennis Abukuse, George Oro, Edmund Anya, Tony Omondi, Ronnie Omondi and Brian Tanga.
If you're not successful in the previous tournament, the draw for the next tournament usually puts you in a tough place. And we're paying the price in Hamilton for our our lowly finish in the last leg. We're in the group of death, Samoa, who is our first up there, the champions from Cape Town, and then Fiji, who are the team everybody wants to avoid, plus France, who one of the Tier 1 nations. So we have a real strong pool that's going to test us to the max. It's consistency that we've been lacking. You could use the off-field issues as an excuse, and we've all lent on it to a bit, but the real thing is that we haven't been consistent enough. We can I think 4 of the top teams in the world we've taken 2-score leads at half time and then fallen away in the second half to lose, or draw. We can play. What we need to be is consistent. And if that consistency comes, our present struggles hopefully will be a thing of the past.
Moving on, in Bunyore Starlets registered a 2-1 win over Thika Queens in the FKF Women Premier League midweek action that was played at the Thika Stadium. Madlina Irene gave Bunyore Starlets their lead in the 43rd minute as Chris Catch restored parity inside 51 minutes of play. Thika Queens' Bilonda Lupemba was shown straight red in the 74th minute, denying Starlets a goal-scoring opportunity after handling the ball inside the penalty area, and Priscilla Akinyi stepped up and converted as Bunyore sealed a 2-1 win. Elsewhere, Kayole Starlets fell to a 3-0 defeat against Vihiga, while Gaspo Women thrashed Kangemi Ladies 4-0.
Furahia mechi ya leo sababu nimeweza kupata 3 points, kwani compare the last season ile ya Kiateka we came here they beat us by 4 goals to 1. Today we have turned the tables, we have won by 2 goals to 1, so it's a good progression.
Wamecheza poa according to instructions, but inakwanga hivyo, lazima kuwe na mshindi na mshindwa, so kitu tutafanya ni tutarudi kwa drawing board, tujue mistakes zetu ni gani. Sasa tujipange. Next game tuna face Ulinzi, so we are going to strategize vile tutachukua hiyo game na vile tutashinda mechi ya Ulinzi.
Moving on, and Vincent Nyambuto scored a hat-trick as Shabana FC registered a 4-0 win against Motata FC in the National Super League match played at the Gusii Stadium. Nyambuto opened the scoring inside 3 minutes of play as he completed his hat-trick before the interval, as Shabana wrapped up a 4-0 win at full time to extend their unbeaten run to 7 games. Meanwhile, Moli Children's Family registered a 3-0 win against Asad FC, while Naivas FC registered a goalless draw against Kibra Black Stars.
Game leo imekuwa nzuri, ingawa bado kuna vile na feel tuna need kufanya zaidi, but nashukuru sana leo haijakuwa ni 1-0, imekuwa ni tumeongeza idadi ya mabao zile si ufunga, ni plus kwetu. Previous match tulikuwa away tukashinda, so na feel tunaelekea direction poa. Kuhusu Nyabuto ni player wetu hapa, though alikuwa ameenda IP, but ni player wetu, anajua nini tunataka, ni mwepesi pale mbele. Last match pia alitufungia. Kwa hivyo ni striker mwenye mkizuba kidogo